Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to this next webcast that we are bringing you from Travel Weekly as part of our Roadmap to Recovery series. And I'm joined today by three very well-known gentlemen in the trade, but I will just introduce them to you all the same. Derek Jones, who is the Chief Executive of Dare Touristique, of course, incorporating Kuoni. Miles Morgan, who is the Chairman of Miles Morgan Travel, and Alan Cross, who is the Head of Trade at Jet2 Holidays. So thank you all for joining me. And I guess the reason I wanted to bring you three together specifically was because we had another announcement last night. We're used to them now, Thursday evenings, but last night's was actually, I guess, good news. Well, we'll talk about it, but we heard obviously that both the Canaries and the Maldives, Mykonos and Denmark, they've all been granted travel corridors. So if I come to you first, Alan, because you reacted pretty quickly to that news. So tell us what it means for you.
Yeah, there was a lot of meetings went on last night and we very quickly got it turned around. It was not only great news, it's a great confidence builder, both for the industry and for the consumer out there. And we've seen that last night. As soon as we put the availability on, they responded to it. So back up to the other destinations like Madeira and Cyprus, Greece, and Turkey from the 15th of November that we're offering, the Canaries burst into life last night and we've seen over 5,500 holidays booked for the Canaries alone, 23,000 flights. So the demand and the consumers want to travel. It's now time for the travel agents to do their bit and get their fair share of those bookings.
That is incredible. So just to be clear, you're going to start flights there from October the 30th?
30th okay. And 31st of October.
All right, okay. So, all right, and we'll come back to you. I want to talk lots more about that, but let's bring Derek in, because obviously the Maldives is a big key destination for you. But when we spoke before, Derek, you said you'd pretty much written off this year. You weren't really expecting anything. So does that change things now that the Maldives has got a corridor?
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, we had pretty much written off the rest of this year for most long haul destinations. So it's a Billy bonus for us. We're very happy that Maldives has come back in. I think to echo what Alan said, it is important because whilst there have been some short haul destinations coming in and out of quarantine and in and out of restrictions, we haven't really had a major long haul destination available to book for 6 months, pretty much from the start of this crisis. So to have a major holiday destination long haul back in play is a real move as far as we're concerned. And again, to echo Alan's comments, we had huge interest last night. Our social media exploded last night. Overnight, we had well over 200 emails, inquiries just for the Maldives. And this morning, we're swamped with new customers coming in and trying to get their last minute getaways booked to the Maldives. So yeah, a really good, timely Philip and a real sort of positive mood lifter for all of us, actually. It's been really good.
Okay, good. This is great to hear. Let's talk to you, Miles, as a travel agent then. I mean, the guys have said they've had some real interest. Alan's got loads of bookings. It's wonderful to be doing something so positive. How's it been for you and your business at the front line? Have you had lots of inquiries?
Yeah, I mean, the first point to say is like the guys said, it is brilliant news. The opportunity for travel agents to actually make some money for the first time almost since March is just wonderful, because doing bookings is great, but of course when they're all for 22 and 23, there is no revenue for a travel agent. So it's a fantastic opportunity for us. We, like everybody, I've no doubt, was on social media very quickly, posting stuff, Canaries and Maldives immediately. So that's great news. I don't want to be the doommeister at all, because it is great news. But I guess my only nervousness is when you look back to what happened back in July when Spain came on. It went off after 2 weeks, and if anything, made things worse. And I guess my only hope is that if they can stay on for a sustained period, that will be absolutely brilliant. If they come off in 2 weeks, that's actually arguably could make things worse, which would be, so I don't want to be a Mr. Doommeister, because it is brilliant news. It's just tempered a bit by that one comment that it needs to stay on. And then it's just, it could be the part of a game-changing move for the whole industry and moving it forward, because this, as Derek said, a scale destinations just haven't happened for ages. It's brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. And when you say that there's that in the back of your mind and it makes you a bit nervous, does it change the way your strategy at all, Miles, or do you just have to just keep selling because as you say, you've had nothing else to really sell for a long time? Do you just press ahead and hope for the best, or are you sort of being a little bit cautious?
No caution whatsoever. No, when you haven't had income since March, you've got to go for it. And if subsequently you end up changing some, that's what you do. We're pretty used to changing them now, having done it for 7 months. So changing a few more is not a problem. It's just the sales opportunity is just brilliant.
Yeah, and obviously we heard this morning from the CAA that they've confirmed that you can continue issuing refund credit notes up until the end of the year. So does that give a bit more peace of mind?
Well, for customers, yeah, I guess it does. I mean, what we're looking to do is not use refund credit notes at all, but simply move clients to another holiday, because in most cases, people don't want a refund credit note. They do want a holiday. And as we get into the depths of winter, and of course the clocks change tomorrow, people increasingly get more and more depressed by the long haul slog of a winter. And everybody, me included, wants something in the diary to look forward to. And there is nothing better than a holiday.
Brilliant. All right. Alan, let's just come to you and see if you can clear something up for us. We've been writing over the last few weeks around what the entry requirements are in the Canaries. There was you're going to need a test within 48 hours, and then only if it's coming from a country where the R rate was higher, et cetera, et cetera. And that was right up until October the 21st, that we were still writing different things. And there's no guidance on the government website. I haven't seen anything on your website. So can you clarify for us? If you're traveling to the Canaries, what do you need?
Actually, at this moment in time, we are just clarifying with the UK government and the Canadian government what the entry and exit requirements are. So keep checking our website for information relating to that. Of course, people do need to complete a form when exiting the UK personal form with their details for entry in case anything happens when it's out there, and that must be completed within 48 hours. But we are just clarifying at this moment in time, and just keep checking our website for that later today. Okay, so we still need an update on that, but certainly you're still managing to sell. People are not worrying about what they need at the moment. They're obviously just booking. There's a lot of resilient people out there, a lot of people looking for a holiday. We just need to find them and get them booking.
Okay, all right, we'll come back to that. Derek, you were saying this is a great little fillip. It's, and you're trying to get these last minute bookings, but how much is the Maldives a last minute destination? It might well be this year, I'm sure, but I mean, it's ordinarily, I'm sure it's a bit of a lead in time. It's probably a big destination for honeymoons and things, and of course we haven't had the weddings that you would normally have. So, but do you think people will just go, actually, I'm prepared to go to the Maldives for a last minute break?
Yeah, you're right. Normal circumstances, it's a very considered purchase. It's a expensive, quite often a one-off purchase for a lot of people going to the Maldives, special occasion based. I do think right now, though, there's the Sodic factor is now in play, and there's an awful lot of people, as Miles said, who've dragged themselves through 6 months of in and out of lockdown. The nights are getting longer, the days are getting shorter. People just want to get away, and there were lots of photographs of Maldivian holidays doing the rounds on Twitter and Facebook last night, and I must admit, you sit looking at those with the rain banging on the windows outside, and if you ever needed the motivation to book a last minute holiday to the Maldives, then I think it's there right now. So yeah, we are seeing a lot of people that want to book last minute. I think on the honeymoon side, that's quite interesting. Quite a few people did get married in the last 6 months and put their honeymoons on hold, and we have a queue of people who are desperate to go on their honeymoon. So immediately we've got a lot of demand for people who've postponed their special occasion and just can't wait to get back into market. So yeah, I'm sure it will settle down, but right now there's a lot of last minute demand for it.
And if there's this much demand, is it literally just a case of saying it's available? If you had to do anything in terms of enticing people with price or added value or anything, or is it, were they just there waiting for it to come back on sale?
People are always price sensitive, and we exist in a competitive market, and our competitors will be in the same space. So we need to make sure we've got the offers in place. Suppliers have been brilliant all the way through. Hotels understand the nature of the market. I think airlines is probably the area where, if the demand really does flood in, the Maldives is limited in terms of how you can get there. BA have got the only direct route, so we may see the price of the airfare going up. Christmas is already, believe it or not, pretty much fully booked. So people have already got in on those Christmas departures. I mean, it is, to sort of pick up on what Miles said, this is brilliant news, but I've been in a 2.5-hour operations and sales meeting this morning, working out the logistics of all of this, and it is still horrendously complicated. If you fly on the BA direct flight and back to the UK, you don't need to quarantine, and obviously Foreign Office advice is shifted. If you take any other routing, you do still get caught with quarantine on the return. So you come back through Dubai, for example, on Emirates, you still have to quarantine. We're trying to clarify Foreign Office advice for a transit in Dubai as to whether you're in breach of Foreign Office advice if you transit Dubai. We think you are, in which case you probably have some insurance implications. So there are 101 operational challenges with all of this. And the challenge we've got, and travel agents have got, which we're well placed for, is we have to be there for our customers now and deal with this complexity. The role of travel intermediaries, particularly travel agents, has more than ever has become about helping their customers to find their way through the challenges, because customers want to travel. We just need to facilitate it for them.
Yeah, well, let's ask Miles about that. You're more important than ever, Miles, according to Derek. But he makes a good point, doesn't it? I mean, and actually, the demand might be there, but actually, if there's only a few direct flights and people can't quarantine and they can't do that other route round, as Derek was saying, through the Middle East, then it might well be open, but they might not be able to get what they want anyway. How are you finding your way around that?
Well, I think it's funny. I've probably spent 14 years trying to educate customers that there's value in a travel agent. And, it's taken 7 months of a pandemic for people to realise, bloody hell, that's right, there really is. And I think, the go forward, which is what Derek's talking about, it's right that almost the more complex the booking and the more complex everything is, the more value there is in a travel agent. But, it is up to every individual agency to upskill and get their people right on it in terms of what's going on. And it is quite challenging because A, it's changing all the time, and B, when you've got somebody like Derek that's struggling to get his head around what it means, what it doesn't mean, looking for clarification himself, that shows how complex this is at the moment. And Alan equally looking for the same from the Canary Islands government, so it is quite challenging. But if you can put yourself in the space that you are the true expert, and that's what we clearly try and position ourselves as being, it's obvious people will come to you and come to you in large numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And just picking up on the agent thing, because you said right at the start, you've done your bit, you've put the capacity on, you've turned it around really quickly. And you said at the end of your first answer, we now need the agents to do their bit. So what is it you're looking for? And knowing you, I imagine you're already turning around all this merchandise and stuff that they can use to help sell. So what are you wanting agents to do?
Yeah, it's a critical time ahead, and we have seen a trend in the past month that agents have lost the will, have had the guts knocked out of them, and they need to pick themselves up now and come out fighting. Peaks doesn't start in January this season. Peaks starts now. They need to sell. There's a peaks there for winter, sell that. Come early December, the peaks is for late winter and for summer next year that they need to really focus on. There's an opportunity, and if they've furloughed too many staff, if they've got one person running an office, which is not a proactive way of selling, they cannot do that. If they close on Wednesdays, close on Saturdays, reduce their hours, it's not going to be good for the travel agent. It puts the customer off and makes it harder for them to book. So I ask travel agents, be proactive now, get the best salespeople back, and go out and service your existing and look for new customers at the same time. Because if you don't do it, another travel agency will, or the customer will go elsewhere to book it. So we need the agents to be proactive and have confidence in the market out there. There's never been a better time, and there's a window to make advantage of it. And I would recommend and plead that they be proactive and they market themselves properly.
Okay, well, good advice. And you were nodding there, Miles. So whether you're in agreement with Alan, it's definitely the right thing, isn't it, to go out and capitalize on this opportunity. But I guess not everybody can. You said some people have furloughed too many, but I guess some people are in such a situation they just couldn't have everybody they wanted working. Miles, what's the situation now in terms of agents in general, having the right numbers of people in place? I mean, you've got a situation yourself. You've got some of your shops that our guests can't open because they're in the firebreaker zone, aren't they? So, you know, and we've got the new job support scheme coming in. So where are you in terms of the running of your business and being able to act like Alan is asking?
Cool. You got about 5 questions in one there. I'll try and pick them off one by one. First of all, in terms of what we're doing with the JSS and all the different schemes, I guess, well, that was great news because it was a massive change in terms of the level of support yesterday from Rishi Sunak. It was sad in a way because I know a lot of people had made decisions to make people redundant because they were going to have to pay 55% of their wages. And when that's smacked in half like it was yesterday, it could well have meant some people's jobs were protected. So it's very, very disappointing that people lost their jobs while we waited for that change to happen. The positive thing it has, which is brilliant, from my business perspective, we are still, to Alan's point, we're still trading every single day, 6 days a week. We're there. We've got the phones open on a Sunday as well. And I do think that's really, really important. Alan is spot on. You've got to be there. You know, if you're closing on a Wednesday or something like that, it doesn't look good. And I know that's hard from a financial perspective, but I think the way out of this pandemic is, yes, you've got to cut costs and keep an eye on your cost line, but the best way out is to drive sales, because that is the way to really, really spark yourself out of it. And so, you know, our marketing effort at the moment, and has been at least for the last 2-3 months, has been as strong as it's ever been. You know, we're all over social, we're pushing stuff out to past clients all the time, and we're finding we are getting a result from doing that. It is successful. And so I think, and I've seen a lot of people talking about hibernating for winter. I don't buy that, I'm afraid. I think you need to do a lot more than that. I think that's almost the best way to oblivion. I think, yes, you've got to do that, but you absolutely have to drive the sales line, because there are people out there buying, and even more so on the back of yesterday's announcement.
Okay, all right. And Derek, just to come back to you around, I know that it would be great if everyone can make some money, and particularly agents who might get some revenue now for winter, not just the forward bookings. But how much does yesterday's announcement sort of save winter, you know, and will it be profitable or invested? Or to Alan's point about confidence, is it also about people or consumers now seeing things moving, seeing things being booked, and having the confidence just that travel is coming back, and so it will be a boost for 2021 and onwards?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think the important thing is it puts travel on the radar. The more we get into this mindset of local lockdowns, fire breaks, people being told not to go to the office, to stay at home, I think the danger is that travel just goes further and further down the list of priorities. And we need to remind people over and over again that travel is still possible, that travel is still good for you, that everyone deserves a break, that it's a positive thing to be thinking about. The danger is that travel starts to take the blame for this pandemic, and travel's not to blame. We need to be confident, and the best way to show our confidence is to talk about our products and to show people on holiday having a great time. And the more of those people come back and talk to their friends about having had a great time and how safe it was. I mean, the one thing that's been said over and over again is anyone who has traveled, without exception, they've come back and said how much safer they felt when they were traveling. We've all seen the stats about chances of catching COVID on a plane is 1 in 27 million. Yeah, you're more risk in Waitrose than you are in the departure airport of an airport. We've got to get rid of this paranoia about travel and get on the front foot. And these messages, these moments when travel corridors come back into play, yeah, they make the news. It was on the 10 o'clock news last night. It's all over the radio this morning on the chat shows. This is our moment to make sure that we get those messages out. So no, is it going to save the winter program? No, of course it's not. It's a limited number of destinations, but is it a move in the right direction? Does it give us momentum? Does it give us more confidence in the spring in our step? And yeah, of course it does, and we have to take that opportunity.
Yeah, and of course you were saying it's down the list for consumers and they don't feel positive about it. But Alan, you were saying that there's been a real sort of air among agents that they felt, you know, battle weary, bit low about things. So it's as much about our own, you know, picking ourselves up and being positive again to get that message out to consumers, presumably.
Very much so. I mean, the only thing that's guaranteed, if you sit back and do nothing, nothing's going to happen. There are people out there wanting to book holidays. A lot of them, the vast majority, I think, would go to a travel agent. So don't they promote the offers that you've got, tell the customer why they should be booking through a travel agent in the first place. And that's important as well. Trust and confidence, as much as destination and price, is important in this current climate.
Okay, slightly random question, Alan, but now because I've got you on, the whole thing around testing, we're getting inundated with testing companies coming to us and saying, oh, can you put us in touch with Jet2 and TUI and EasyJet? Can you get us introductions? Because they firmly believe that you guys should be setting up your own testing. And actually, we've seen some travel agents sorting out tests for people, and not actually running a testing company, but people are sort of taking it into their own hands. Clearly, they would need those tests to be endorsed by the government. But is that something Jet2 is looking at? Are you working on sort of offering your own testing?
Every way of getting the holiday market moving, but you're into an absolute minefield when you go into something like that. Everybody claims they have the best test and trace, and the government can't sort it out. So how the hell are we, as a supplier, as a tour operator, going to be able to sort that? If there's an opportunity there, we'll certainly look and take advantage of it. But there's so many other discussions going on at the moment with governments, with airports, and again, with our own government here, trying to get the test and trace system correct. You hear all the confusion about how long it takes to get the results back as well, and how accurate those results are also. So we're focused on what we do well, and that is selling holidays, and try and let other people resolve that issue of the track and trace and test system.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. You just don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and I just wondered if that was something you were looking at. All right, Miles, let's just come to you for the last word then. And to Alan's point about people being down in the dumps a bit, and how are your staff and other agents that you know? I mean, there's been all this, everybody wanting this sector-specific support, but it sounds like you're just getting on with it now, and you're really trying to drive those sales. And how's morale in your team?
It's a funny one, really. I actually believe we're in a different place than we were. I think from March probably through to July, it was pretty much a war zone, fighting back refunds all the time. It was a tough time for everybody. I have to say, for our crew, we're in a really good place. Sales-wise, we're really getting what we want. We're delighted. Morale is high. And we're actually positively looking forward and seeing the future as bright, not looking over our shoulders and being worried. And I think, a lot of it comes from a mentality. If your head's in the shed, everybody's head's going to be in the shed. Mine's very much looking to the future and feeling quite excited that when we get to the other side of this, travel agents are going to be on the agenda for a lot of people booking holidays, and the opportunity for my business and businesses like mine is really, really bright. And I think for me, that is now starting now, and my positivity is almost growing by the week. I know there's a long way to go before we get to the other side of this, but I kind of think that we're now starting to build back up, and the really, really tough period is actually through. Obviously, cash is king and will remain the same over the winter. But we're strong from that perspective, and we're looking forward to an exciting future.
Brilliant. So good to hear, Miles, because I've had you on several of these webcasts over the last few months, and you've not always been as positive as that. Well, you've always been positive, but it's been tough, and so it's great to hear you say that. Same question for you, Derek. You've had to make, again, you've been on here at different times when you've had to make some very difficult decisions. What's your outlook now?
Yeah, well, as always, Miles has said it better than I ever could. He's absolutely right. You can't let your heads go down. You can't dwell on the past. You have to always be looking to the future. I mean, you'll have seen that we've been pretty bold in terms of spending money on marketing. We've been in the Times, we've been in the Telegraph. We've been talking about the way we've handled the crisis so far. I think we should be proud of what we've done. I think we've looked after our customers. We've refunded them where we've needed to. We've done the right things by our travel agent partners. And as Miles said, there will come a point in this cycle at some point when the market will return. And I think those guys, whether they've done it locally in their own communities, whether they've done it nationally with their policies that they've applied, customers will remember, I've no doubt at all. And we can help them to remember. We can put those messages out. But the important thing in the context of your question about that is that when your team see you doing that, when your team see you believing in your product and believing in your position and believing in the future, then they believe too. And same as Miles, we've got a brilliant team of people. Sadly, it's not as big a team as it used to be, and that pains all of us. But you know, those of us that are here, those of us that are still moving forward, are doing it positively. We got great camaraderie, and just the news about the Maldives coming on board was a real boost, and a well-deserved boost for all of them. So I hope we can accelerate off the back of that for the next few weeks and months.
I hope so too. And we'll let Alan have the final word. I imagine that it was pretty happy, smiley faces when to get the Canaries back on. You always said to me that was crucial to get that winter. So that must be huge for you.
Yeah, we're always very positive at Jet2 Holidays, looking for an opportunity, and you give us an inch and we'll take a mile, and we're going to take this mile now. And as I say, help drive the business and the customers' holidays.
Well,
and the
you say that though, Alan, but TUI are starting their Canary flights from this weekend, so you're going to be a week after them. What is sorry to say? So, but why are you waiting a week? I know it's probably logistical nightmare, but you know it's a week later than that. You're
starting from scratch. You want to get it right, and you want to make sure that the resort's ready for you, the hotels are ready for you, the transport and the experience. We're not just an airline; we're a holiday business, and we're there to give the best experience for those customers. And that will happen on the 30th of October. If we could do something earlier to make sure that experience is fantastic, then we will do it. But at the moment, it's 30 October, and it will be good.
Okay.
Lucy, I was impressed this morning. I walked past the pet shop on the way to work, and you know what? Every single canary in that shop was already branded Jet2. I thought, fair play to Alan, that's impressive.
Why doesn't that surprise me? All right. Well, listen, isn't it lovely to all be on a call and it being, a happier call, a more positive call? I really wish you all the best, all of you, for all your businesses. And your messages to the rest of the trade as well are so important, that we just needed this lift, and let's hope we can really build on this going forward. So for now, thank you so much for your time, to Derek, to Miles, and to Alan. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thanks, Lucy. Thanks, guys.